Don't go to Asia without knowing these 7 things first. I just got back from my 6-month-long trip in Asia, and honestly, I wish someone had told me these things beforehand. And it will save you from falling from motorbikes or going to hospitals. Trust me, I've been there and it was not fun. Let's talk motorbikes. They're everywhere, they're cheap, and some places you really need one to get by. But here is what nobody tells you. If you don't have an international driver's license, the insurance will probably not cover your expenses in case something bad happens. And this is exactly how many people got stuck in Bali after having an accident, and now they're not able to pay their hospital bills. So definitely get your license sorted before you go. Quick story, I rented a motorbike for the first time and I thought, well, how hard could it be? It's like all the locals are driving it. And it turns out it's pretty hard. First time I was driving it, I was trying to turn right and there were so many people behind me and I just like put too much gas and I fell and scraped myself. So don't underestimate it. Also, do not expect Western driving rules. Not only might you drive on the left or right and you should be able to do both based on the country that you go to, but locals do stuff that feels different and unsafe. They might merge without blinkers, they might drive in the opposite lane. Things happen and you need to stay flexible, adaptable, and not stress about it. Second, be super picky about where you're gonna stay and where you're gonna live. Especially if you're like us and you're traveling on a budget and looking for those cheap rooms, it can get really tricky because a lot of them might have mold, might have cockroaches, and don't even try to turn on the AC because you might get sick. Always check the reviews and sort them by the worst. And always make sure to check the room before you pay for it. Or at least pay for the first night, check the room, and then you pay the rest. One night in Kuta in Lombok, I booked this really nice looking place by the beach and literally we could not sleep in there. It was so hot, we could not breathe, we could not turn on the AC. There were cockroaches and there was mold. The room was unlivable. We had to go outside and sleep by the pool and we were bitten by mosquitoes quite a lot. Mosquitoes are the absolute worst. They are relentless and also your local sprays will likely not work, so don't even bother with those. The best tip I can give you is buy a huge mosquito net, some duct tape, some rope, and hang it everywhere that you live. If you're traveling on a budget, definitely do not accept the first price that you're given. For the accommodation, always check what the price on Agoda is and then try to negotiate a lower price based on what they would pay to Agoda because they are giving a percentage to Agoda and they can save that money if you pay them directly. If you're renting a motorbike, make sure to rent it for multiple days if you can. If you cannot, try to understand what the local prices are and negotiate from that. In both cases, what helps with negotiation is understanding the local price and understanding what your budget is. Once you have that, have a number in mind, have a cash prepared, and be ready to hand it to them. When they see the money in your hand, they're more likely to accept it than if you just toss the numbers around. Wherever you live, if somebody randomly asks you for money, would you give it to them? Probably not. But somehow in Asia, there is many of these businesses that just set up stands on beaches, parking lots, and then just ask you for fees. These are not legitimate businesses and you do not need to pay them. So if they cannot provide you with a receipt for whatever they're charging you, it's not legitimate and you don't need to pay. You can, of course, support them if you feel bad for them or for whatever reason, but if you're on a budget, you likely don't have extra money for that. Animals in Southeast Asia are adorable. However, rabies is not. This one time when I fell on a bike, there was a small puppy that licked my scratch wound. And according to the doctors, I needed to get multiple rabies shots because when saliva gets in contact with even tiny scratches, it can still get into your blood system. So be careful. And definitely watch out for monkeys. Not only will they steal your phones and sunglasses and try to exchange them for bananas, they are also very aggressive. And this one monkey randomly jumped on a friend of mine and bit him, and he ended up going to the hospital as well. Now, most people love dogs, and I love them so much. But dogs in Bali and Lombok are actually quite aggressive, and especially at night, they will start going in packs and barking, and they might even attack you. So be careful about dogs in Bali and Lombok. However, dogs almost everywhere else, like Cambodia, Thailand, the Koh Phangan and islands, and Koh Samui, Phuket, Vietnam, everywhere we went, the dogs were amazing. And last, if you're in Bali, you might be tempted to explore the Gili Island or Lombok. But be aware that those islands are Muslim. This means that they will be singing very early in the morning. This means waking up at 4 a.m. to their prayers on speakers, which will definitely wake you up. Honestly, it's an incredible place and you should absolutely go. Just go prepared. I learned these things the hard way, so you don't have to. And if they were helpful in any way, consider subscribing and liking this video. And I'll see you in the next one.